All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to welcome you to the second session on day 2. This is History Makers Training, April 2019, themed How to Build Systems for National Transformation. A few hours back, we had Dr. Sunday, who continued in his teaching, and we are having the second session right now. As you join, I would like to encourage you to please share this link. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could click on the share icon and share this to share this link on your social media platforms. And also, if you're on Facebook, I would like you to share this post on your timeline. And also, if you have some groups you belong to, kindly share this video on your groups. And also, if you have some friends that you would like to share these teachings with, it would be great if you can suggest this video to them. I have some books I would like to recommend to you. These are old books. You might not find them on Amazon or on Okada Books. So it would be great if you write to us at dsasbooks@gmail.com to get these books. The first one I'll be announcing is The Wilderness in Your Life. The Wilderness in Your Life. And you're going to be getting answers on what is the wilderness, what needs to be done while you're in the wilderness, and how to come out victorious while in the wilderness. So that is the title of this book, The Wilderness in Your Life. Thank you very much. All right, so the next one, these are all very small books as compared to the new books that Dr. Sunday is writing. It is Victorious Despite the Devil. Victorious Despite the Devil. The next one is Life and Death in the Power of the Tongue. Life and Death in the Power of the Tongue. All these books they're old books, and you can get these books by writing to us at dsasbooks@gmail.com. The next is The Restorers of the Earth. The Restorers of the Earth. And I'll go to the next one, which is in line with what we've been talking about thus far. It is titled Spearheading National Transformation. Spearheading in National Transformation. And you're aware that this HMT is devoted on teaching how to build systems for national transformation. So this is a book that if you see yourself as a national transformer, you want to get this book. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is a book that we are reading here for this HMT, and it is How to Find Money for Your Dreams. Well, this book would give you the algorithm on how to find the resources that you need to accomplish your dreams. Something I really love about this book, it was written, and it is written here actually, that it says, if you have a vision, then the resources are already available somewhere. So this book will give you the roadmap on how to get the resources that you need to fulfill your dreams. And the last one that is here with me is Process is the New Result. Process is the New Result. You want to get a hold of this book on Amazon, on Okada Books. And also, you would see on your screens now a book titled System Building. System Building. And the subtitle is System Building, the Key to Resolving Every Problem and Attaining Every Goal. So you could get all of these books by maximizing the promo that we have right now. So for this HMT period, there's the HMT DSA Books promo. And you can partake in this promo by writing to us at dsasbooks@gmail.com. I repeat, dsasbooks@gmail.com. Write to us, and we're going to respond to you, and you can give us the list of the books that you need. And mind you, we're not talking about e-copy, we're talking about getting the hard copy of Dr. Sunday's books. All right, so at this point, we are having a unique personality with us, and she will be teaching on the topic systems thinking. She's no other person but Pastor Bose Adelaja. Can welcome Pastor Bose with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anna. Again, good afternoon, everybody. I'm personally very happy to be here this afternoon. I count it as a great opportunity to see you, to interact with you, and to discuss such an important topic. But before we start the topic, I would like to remind us about what the training is all about, because we have series of training every year, maybe at least 3 or 4. We call them history makers training. Then we give topic to each training, but still the main goal is to remind us that we are not on this earth for fun. There is a reason for our being. There is a reason for our existence. There is no chance, there is no accident in who we are, in God's plan for our life. So regardless of the topic of the HMT training, it's very important for us to be reminded that we are history makers. God brought us down here. We are here at this time. We won't be here forever. So this is our time. This is our generation. And we are here to leave a mark, to leave a good mark, to leave this earth, to leave our society at least better than we met it. We may not be able, and I don't think we'll be able to solve all the problems, but at least if we try hard, we should be able to solve some problems. So let that be the connecting line as you listen to different HMT online, or as you participate in different training. It's not really about the topic, but it's about the goal. The topic are just tools for us to be able to attain the goal. But the main goal is to make a difference. The main goal is for us personally to be aware of our presence, and then for other people, then other people will be aware of our presence. So that's the first thing. And then going to this topic we are treating, building system. I would like to start by saying that we have at least 2 types of systems to build. We have to build our personal system, and then we have to build external system, because the topic of this HMT is building system for national transformation. So if we are not careful, we'll just be thinking outwardly. We'll be thinking about the changes we would love to do, but we have to remember that those changes must start from us, because if we are not changing ourselves, it will be very difficult and almost impossible for us to change other people. And we should also be able to view ourselves as a system, because we are systems, and in our bodies there are a lot of systems functioning in our bodies. So we should be able to see ourselves as systems, understand the systems at work in our lives, and maximize, improve our thinking, our system thinking for ourselves, because we can't give other people what we don't have, and we won't be very effective if we are not practicing system thinking in our own personal lives. And I think we have a lot of opportunities in our lives to think in a systematic way that will improve our lives, that will improve our interactions, that will improve our relationships. Then we'll have a lot to give out to our world, to our generation while we're here. So I think it's very important for me to lay that foundation. Then coming to the system we are treating, I have no doubt that Pastor Sunday has been, giving you good practical information about the system. It's a man of systems. We are all learning from him. So I'm not as good as he is, but at least I'm happy to have learned the things I've learned from him. So you are lucky to have him as the main teacher at this training. So let's start the topic of today, systems thinking. In this our ministry, we hear a lot about, thinking style. And I think a lot in life depend on what is happening in our mind, how we think. And the Bible also confirms that it said, as a man thinketh, so he is. Yeah. And until we start to think systematically, we won't understand what the Bible said. We will think we are different from our thoughts. We will think, but really, the truth will always be the truth. Our thoughts, they form us, they make us. We do what they dictate to us. And I'm so happy that we have this kind of training, and I'm so happy that we are such Christians that we see everything in our world as one. Because the gospel of the kingdom is a gospel that embraces everything around us. The church, the business sphere, the medical sphere, the educational sphere, and everything that is happening in our environment has God in it. And everything that we see around us belongs to God. So I'm so happy that we are such Christians, that we are not marginalized, that we are able to see God in everything, and that we are able to learn from other people. Yeah, that we read the Bible, but we also read the so-called secular words and books, and we are able to learn from how the world is functioning. It's not everything in the world that is bad. Yeah, we just need to know how to differentiate, and we need to know what to take and what to reject, what to accept and what to reject. So I think the world has moved far in system thinking, and everything in the world, in corporate businesses, they are built on systems, and that's why they are predictable. And I'm so happy that we Christians are exploring, that part of our world, of our technological progress. And with that, I want to believe that we'll bring reformation to Christianity, and hopefully we'll live Christianity in a better way than we met it. Okay. So defining system, and yes, thank you.
Okay.
Brad Joshua will read, right?
Definition. A system is a cohesive conglomeration of interrelated and interdependent parts that is either natural or man-made.
So a system is like a combination, it's like combination of interrelated, interdependent parts. Yeah, so a system consists of many parts. It consists of many processes. So the totality of the many parts and the totality of the many processes, that's what we call systems. That is, if to give it an academic definition, please.
Systems thinking is a holistic approach to analysis that focuses on the way that the system's constituent parts interrelate and how systems work over time and within the context of a larger systems.
Yeah, let's read it again, and I would like somebody that understands this to explain it to us in his own words for us to get. Let's read it once again. Be attentive, please.
Okay. Systems thinking is a holistic approach to analysis that focuses on the way that a system's constituent parts interrelate and how systems work over time and within the context of larger systems.
Yeah, so who would like to explain to us how does this relate to you personally? What do you see in this concerning you, concerning your ministry, your business, or our life in general? Any volunteer? Yes, okay.
Thank you. I understand this to be showing us that thinking it's one of those things that are embedded in a greater system.
Okay.
Example of a family.
Mhm.
Family is a system,
Absolutely.
but there are systems within family. There are children there. There's wife. There's husband.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things, and a lot of dynamics that are happening in one family. So I'm thinking now as a system. To be systems thinking is that which we need to use to analyze whatever that we find in a system to make it meaningful for everything. Like for instance, in my sphere of a school belongs to the Department of Education, which is a system on its own. So it means I need to understand, or we need to understand whatever and think, to make this that we have, more practical, so that at least it becomes part of the whole system.
Yeah, thank you. For example, let's take the family system that you just mentioned, right? So, system thinking in a family system is a holistic. Holistic is a total approach, right? Not partial, but a total approach to everything that is happening in the family. So a systems thinking in a family will not be limited by what is happening today in the family. A system thinking will always think about the goal of the family, where the family is going, right? The purpose of having the family, why we are raising children, what we want the children to do, to become, what contributions we will love our children to give, to the larger system that exists outside the family. So if we use system thinking in the family, we will do things in such a way that it will not just be about what is happening now, right? It will be about what will happen as long as either the husband in the family is alive, or the wife in the family is alive, or the children will be alive. So in the way we do things in our family will reflect that we understand that it's not just about the family. And if we study family very well, you see, you have a husband, you have a wife, they start having children for, let's say, an average period of 25, 30, they're all together. Then later, they will start disintegrating, everybody will start going in some way. Yeah, so a holistic approach to family should have that also in its system, in its mind. And then when you train your children, when you talk to them, it should include something like, okay, when you leave the house, when you start your own family, because, it's an holistic approach. It's not just, God, just help me raise these children until they're 20 or until they're 25. No, it's the totality, as long as they are alive, giving them that thinking style that let them know that they're history makers, that they are not here, for fun, and they're part of a larger system. So holistic is very important because, often people just want to deal with their own part. People feel comfortable dealing with their home part, but it's very important to see the totality, what we call the total picture. So systems thinking, they help us to use more, or the principle of full picture, total picture, not being limited by what we are doing today, where we are now, but seeing the totality of where we are going and of where we wish to be. And systems thinking also focus on the way these parts can interrelate with each other, the way we can help one another, and that is also very visible in the family, right? In the family, we do things as one, right? We help one another. We have this responsibility to help one another and to see that the parts works together. And like I've said, and how systems work over time and within the context of a larger system, because we have the family, but the family is inside a larger system. So that will, just like I did with the family system, we can analyze all of the important systems we have in our lives. Okay.
Nature. Systems thinking is also a sensitivity to the secular nature of the world we live in, an awareness of the role of structure in creating the conditions we face, a recognition that there are powerful laws of systems operating that we are unaware of, a realization that there are consequences to our actions that we are oblivious to.
Okay, let's analyze this. What can we get from this? Please read it again, and I would like you to contribute.
Systems thinking is also a sensitivity to the secular nature of the world we live in, an awareness of the role of structure in creating the conditions we face, a recognition that there are powerful laws of systems operating that we are unaware of, a realization that there are consequences to our actions that we are oblivious to.
Okay, so what do we see here? What are maybe the words or what can we say about the secular nature of the world we live in? What does any resonance with that for anybody, the secular nature of the world we live in? Would you like to contribute? Thank you, sir.
That the world we live in
Yes, sir.
is governed by laws and principles, certain laws and principles
Okay.
that are identifiable.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I need you to connect it
Okay, so
with system thinking.
so for us to think about a system or to build our thoughts within a system, we have to align that with those laws and principles. So the application of those laws becomes our principles, and that possibly forms the business rules that we would adopt.
Yeah, thank you. So knowing the laws will help us in our system thinking.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Any other contribution?
I was
Yes,
going to
sir.
add something to what he said. So when we engage systems thinking, we should, now let me put it this way, we should, by engaging systems thinking, we are not left unaware of the fact that there is still a larger world out there, that there are structures in that larger world, and we have a part to play in what in the larger system that we find ourselves in, which is the secular nature of the world we live in.
So what is the secular nature? Can somebody explain the secular nature of the world we live in? Yes, we have a hand there.
I'm thinking what it means is that because we're talking about systems, everything, the way we operate, the world we live in, operates through system, whether we are conscious of it or we're not. So when we now bring it into our thinking, into our personal lives, then we have to understand that the outside systems, it's a circle that flows into our inner system, our personal system, that it has to revolve around each other, taking that into consideration.
Thank you very much. Another thing I can add to that is that you say systems thinking is also a sensitivity, right? And an awareness to the secular nature of the world we live in. There are a lot of systems, yeah? And the systems are like circles. You know, it starts, then it go around, then it starts all over again. And we have a lot of those cycles and circles around us. So if we are living in a world that is full of cycles, we are living in a world that is full of circles, there is hardly no way we can avoid. And if we want to function in a better way, it will also be good for us to embrace, you know, the circular nature of the world we live in, you know, and become part of the cycle. And so understanding that, there are a lot of cycles around us and things actually functions in cycles around us, that will enhance the development of our system thinking, and we can learn a lot, just studying all the existing systems, nature, in business, in all different spheres that we know of, and then, trying to project them on our lives, our business, the things we do. That will really be helpful, because just like any other form of thinking, system thinking is developed over time. System thinking is developed, is a practical skill, it's not enough to read books about it. It's like swimming, It takes time for the connections to be formed in our brain, but we can learn a lot by observing. We can learn a lot by using associative thinking and applying it to whatever we do. The second point here we see is that it creates an awareness of the role of structure. The antonym of structure will be lack of structure. It will be something like a zigzag, chaos. I do things the way I want. I do things the way I feel. I get up when I want to get up. I eat when I want to eat. I'm my boss. I do anything I want to do. But then, when we start observing our world, and when we start, developing system thinking, we find out that won't work. If we want to grow, if we want to move forward, if we want to be successful, that a society where everybody is where structures are not respected, and when everybody just wants to do what he feels he wants to do, that environment, that society will not be developed. There will be a lot of social, there will be a lot of family, there will be a lot of problems there, because our world is functioning because our world recognizes structure, and we also need to recognize the role of structure in our personal life, the role of structure in our near outward life, and the role of structure in the larger world we interact with. So system thinking will help us to and encourage us to like structure. We won't think it's lack of freedom. No, recognizing structure doesn't mean doesn't mean we reject freedom. Freedom requires structure. A freedom without structure will lead destroy us. Even freedom, as free as it sounds, needs structure, needs borders, right? Because if any freedom without structure, any freedom without border, will eventually destroy you. We eventually kill you. So, a system thinker will love structure. A system thinker will ask, what are the orders here? What is the structure? How to do things. He may later approach things in a creative way, but still, we need that spine, the spine, which is the structure on which we build things in our personal lives, in our ministry, in our businesses, in our relationships. That is important, and system thinking raises that question in us. We've spoken about law, powerful laws of system operating. Some of them we are aware of, some of them we are unaware of, but the more we develop ourselves as system thinkers, the more we'll be aware of those laws, the more experience we will have, and then we'll become better. And the last part is also very important, realization that there are consequences to our action. That is also very important. If we do things the way we feel like, if we do things the way we want, okay, we'll have to pay for it at the end of the day. Yeah. So system thinking seems to be good for us. So far, so good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nurture. The systems thinking approach contrasts with traditional analysis, which studies systems by breaking them down into their separate elements.
Okay, let's ponder on that a little bit. Who would like to break that down for us, or say it in his or her own words for better comprehension, for better understanding? I need more people to be active at the back.
So I was just going to quickly chip this in.
Okay.
So the first slide talks about systems thinking being holistic, a total approach. But this is contrasting it with traditional analysis, which tends to break things down into elements, into separate elements.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding from that first point.
Okay. That's okay. Workers.
I think system thinking, because systems are made up of an integrated part of isolated, we like call it isolated entities, that thinking in a systemic way will allow you to actually separate each component of the entire system in order to understand the system as a whole. Because, how do I put it? Because system is not just one big entity. It's a combination or integration of smaller entity to form a big entity. So you need to try and understand the different entities that makes up that whole system for you to really have an understanding of how the system works and how the system and how each part of that entity affects the entire system and the
system thinking is always having the full picture in mind. You know, even while breaking down the studying part, is always aware of the totality of everything. Whereas the traditional analysis, we break things down in separate parts, and sometimes we forget that they are part of a larger part of things. And we just hold on to this small part, and we make a big deal out of a small part, and forgetting the totality of all other things that are related to it. Okay, let's move on.
So point number 2, changing one part of the system usually affects other parts changing one part of the system usually affects other parts. As well as the whole system with predictable patterns of behavior.
Yeah. And what is this pointing to? This is pointing to the connection between them, yeah. And if we take it personal, if we improve in one part of our lives, it will affect the other parts of our lives, because we as a person, we're a system. You know, I'm not just talking about the physical part, you know, the digestive, the reproductive, the respiratory system, all those things we know. Even just like a spiritual being, our spirituality is also a system, you know, and our psychology is also a system, a complex system, yeah. But if we start improving a part of any of our system, it will affect the others. It's just like equation. You know, how we solve equation in mathematics. If you add +3 to one part, then you have to add +3 to the other part. If you subtract from one part, because it's a system, you can't just, I like the left part of the equation, you know. No, it won't work. Yeah, it won't work. So, again, system building and system thinking is always making you conscious of the totality, you know, not just you as a person, you know, but the totality. And that's what gives you the courage to want to change the world, because you see your connection to the world, you know, you feel it, you know, you feel it, and that consciousness all the time, completeness, totality, is very important.
Okay. Point number 3. Systems thinking can be used in any area of research and has been applied to the study of medical, environmental, political, economic, human resources, and educational systems, among many others.
Okay, so hearing this, right, here we are discussing system thinking. That means we are discussing then, hopefully we will apply them to our lives or to some part of whatever we do. And now hearing this, that this system thinking can be used almost everywhere. How does this translate to you? How does this apply to you? And how does this make you an important person in your society, an important person to our world? How would you translate this? Okay, we have a hand at the back. Mr. John.
I would say it means we are capable of making positive changes in our world. Because
almost in every area.
In every area of our
almost
world.
in every area. It's like wherever we find ourselves, you know, in Africa, in South Africa, in any area. Because as history makers, we meet different people. I mean, just like a pastor. For example, I am a pastor. And different people, they come to me, right? And so this is a tool that can make you a very important person. You know, just thinking in a systematic way and teaching other people, influencing other people, also with system thinking, we improve their lives, and it will help you to live a fruitful life, not just as one of them. Because this is it's like a universal tool, because our world is full of systems. Yeah, so this is very good. We are needed everywhere, and we have at least something to give to every sphere of our life. Maybe not as professionals, but at least we can start from somewhere.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
Especially that we are looking at growing, maturing, you know, the systems which now expands, which forms all these linkages in terms of all the disciplines. So all these interrelated disciplines in life, because we are not developing in a vacuum.
No.
We have all these traditions that wherever we come from, there will be. And then now linking them with all these disciplines, it would make, you know, the systems being nurtured in a special way.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's good.
Okay. Solving problems. People don't become system thinkers because system thinking is so cool. They do so because they discover that linear thinking won't answer their questions.
How do we relate to that? If we study successful people, great people of all centuries, we'll find out that these are people who got stuck with linear thinking and then decided to do something out of the box. And system thinking is something out of the box, because linear thinking is so easy. It's like the first thing that comes to your mind. But system thinking require more push, you know, require you to be desperate, you know, something deeper. And that's why it says here that some people, of course, they are natural system thinker. You always have those special cases. But most of other system thinkers we have, it grew out of their desperation. It grew out of their failure. They saw that the linear thinking is not working. It's not working as they would have loved their life to be. So, I mean, they had to change something. So, also, so it's very important also for us to have a big goal, and to be willing to go outside the box. Not to be too much concerned about how people will look at us or what people will think we are. We must want to fulfill our goal, and people are always thinking of how we later find themselves thinking in a systematic way rather than in a linear way.
Okay, point number 2. Linear thinking is cause and effect thinking. One cause has one effect. Sometimes it works adequately, as when you run out of gas and your car stops. Your car stopped, which is an effect, because it had no gas, which is the cause. If you put gas in again, your car will run. Linear thinking is quite effective in solving this type of problem.
Okay, I think we all understand cause and effect, right? But system thinking will help us to avoid a lot of crisis situations in our life. Linear thinking helps us to think ahead, and put a plan in place, system in place, so that our life will not be chaotic, so that our life will not just be full of solving cause and effect kind of problems. This problem, then we solve it. The other problem, we solve it. It's like we're just waiting for problems to come, and then we'll be solving them, and we'll think we are very busy because we have a lot of problems to solve.
Okay. The road to becoming a systems thinker. Point number 1. Adopting a systems approach takes persistence and curiosity. Being the sole systems thinker in a linear thinking organization can be a lonely place. People will not understand you. You will feel like you are walking around with 2 heads. Whenever you talk, people will stare at you, confused.
Yeah, I think most of us coming from an Eastern culture, an African culture, I think we can relate to this, because it seems we don't have a lot of system approach in our culture, in our tradition. Things, bless you, things happen and they call you, and they expect you cause and effect. No planning, no much planning, and so being a system thinker in such an environment, of course, will raise a lot of questions. People will not understand you. People will think you are not honoring the tradition, that you are arrogant, you are this, you are that. But everybody is responsible for what is revealed to him. Yeah? And everybody is responsible for the life that has been given unto him. And most of us here being descendants of Africa, we really have a big challenge, and we have a role to play in propagating system thinking in our approaches and trying to educate as much as possible people that system thinking is what will solve our cultural, social, and national problem in the continent. Because many people like to say, oh, look at Europe, look at America. Things are working there, but things are not working in Africa. And things are not working in Africa because we are not applying a lot of system thinking. We like the cause and effect. Go and help me buy water. If a visitor will come, then you don't have juice, you don't have water. It's after the visitor has come, because we also have discussion of I think it has changed, but before, visitors can come even without notice. So the visitor will come without notice, and here you are, you have no juice, you have no food, then you call a small child, please go and help me buy this, go and help me buy that. Then after 10 minutes, oh, where is this child? Where is he? I sent him to, then you tell the visitor, oh, I'm sorry, it was soon. So, and this is just a visitor coming. This is just one part of it. Yeah, but a system thinker will always have a kind of storage, even if you are living in an environment like that. You know, that's what system thinking does. You know, it observes, it studies what could happen. You know, for example, a visitor can come without notice. Okay, well, that means I must always have a certain number of these in my reserves. This, and not get comfortable with the cause and effect. You know, or also one thing that I don't like much, especially from the part I'm from. This I don't know what they call it in English, but in my language is this ashwebi. You see people forcing a purchase on you. You know, you had no plan, you had no budget. You know, people just how do I say it? Deciding your destiny and deciding your choice. You know, choosing the clothes for you and when you must buy it. You know, yeah, uniform, right? Yeah, and if you don't buy it, then I mean, you become an enemy, and then when you break all these things down, you just see the madness, and we say Africa is a poor continent, and it's so much in the minds that some people will go and borrow money to do that. Some people will not eat, but they will go and borrow money. But as somebody that is developing, so that's why it says somebody that's trying to work in the system thinking will look odd. Will look weird. Mm-hmm. You know, people would not understand. People will be staring at him. They will think he has lost it. Yeah, but he's just trying to start living. So we have a lot of such things, you know, to deal with when we start, you know, developing a system or a systematic approach to most of the things we do.
Point number 2. Of course, many people have thought systematically all their lives. Many of them don't even know that what they are doing is labeled systems. But for the vast majority of us, the jump to systems thinking requires time, practice, curiosity, and intentionality. See Making the Shift.
Yeah, there's a book, Making the Shift. If you want to know more about that, but I've mentioned something about that. It's not very easy. But it's possible. It's possible, and it's a skill that one has to be always upgrading. It's a kind of creative skill.
Components. Attention to feedback is an essential component of systems thinking. For example, in project management, prevailing wisdom may prescribe the addition of workers to a project that is lagging. However, in practice, that tactic might have actually slowed down development in the past. Attention to that relevant feedback can allow management to look for other solutions rather than wasting resources on an approach that has been demonstrated to be counterproductive.
Yeah, I intentionally put that there because when there is a lagging project or when there is a kind of difficulty, the first thought that comes to us is that we need more computers, we need more people, we need more this. And I don't know who have, you know, experienced that even after the computer, after the more people, after the this, things don't always change. Yeah. And then, you know, and if the leader is not a system thinker, the leader will say, but we just got another computer, we just got this. So it's very important for us not to rush, in pumping resources without due analysis. Yeah, because we always feel it's more money we need. We always feel it's more people we need. We always feel it's more influence we need. But those money, those people must be put on a system. Yeah. So if we don't have a system and we pump in more money, we might get frustrated at a point if we don't build a system first. Because, like, for example, in our ministry, we believe in building system. Like the church, which is more like a non-profit, voluntary organization, we build a system of service. Yeah. We build a system of sacrificial service. And that is the base, that is the foundation. Because if you don't have that, then money will not help you, Other things will not help you. So you have to study your sphere, what should be the foundation before you start pumping money and things like that. So it's very important, because a system thinker will not be too quick in just pumping resources. It will spend more time in analyzing and planning, in analyzing the quality, what might be the reason. Maybe more training is needed. Maybe other kind of workers are needed. Maybe another approach is needed. So it's very important. But for vast majority, they just say, "Give me more money, then I will do this for you." You give them money, nothing happens, then they will say, "Give me more money, I will do it for you," and things like that.
Okay. Impact. So many of the interventions we design focus on addressing symptoms rather than underlying problems. Use the clues in "it is a problem," is it a problem or a symptom, to determine whether your actions are merely band-aids or are likely to have a lasting positive impact.
Okay, read the next one, please.
In organizations, systems thinking brings powerful tools and enlightened perspectives to organizational diagnosis, problem solving, strategy, and leadership. See linear versus systems thinking.
Okay, there's also a book like that. So, to give us a clue and to help us to evaluate our approach to solving the problems we have, there is this method. Is it a problem or a symptom? We call everything problems, but not everything a problem or is a problem, right? So this clue will help us to know, am I dealing with a problem or am I dealing with a symptom? Yeah.
Is it a problem or a symptom? Practice identifying whether something is the problem or merely a symptom of something deeper. Linear thinking tends to focus on addressing surface level behaviors or symptoms. Unfortunately, making a symptom go away won't solve the problem. In fact, it may make things worse and cause effects in other parts of the organization. A manager taking a systems thinking approach will work to understand the underlying problem before addressing any of the symptoms. Usually, if the true problem is solved, the symptoms will be eliminated as well.
Yes, and to take time to study, to determine either it's a problem or a symptom, it takes time. And sometimes people don't like that because people want you to react immediately. People want you to do something immediately. Yeah, because that's what many people do. Yeah, but a system thinker needs time, to study, analyze why is this thing repeating itself, or even if we want to take it personal. Maybe there are certain outbursts of emotions that we have. We know they are not good. We hate ourselves for that, but they keep coming. Yeah, and maybe we are just treating the symptoms, and we are not taking time to really be true with ourselves and to find out why do we react to certain things. Yeah, and then try to solve the problem and not just deal with the symptoms that will make us to keep on solving the same problem throughout our whole life. Okay.
Clues that what you're experiencing is a symptom rather than the problem itself. Number one, the size of the problem isn't commensurate with the discussion around it. Is the problem too small in comparison to the time and energy it is taking? If people are spending all their time, for example, complaining about the color of the carpet or the shape of their offices, you can assume that their reaction are a symptom of another problem.
Yeah, and it's so true, especially when you work with people, because people will always present their symptoms as problem. We have a big problem, yeah, and they will be talking about the color of the carpet. They will be spending hours, But for a system thinkers, those things are so minute. Those things are so insignificant. Yeah. So, if spending less time on the basic and more time on minor things, that there is room for minor things, but if you are the thing is not saying that you don't talk about it at all, but if you talk too much about it, then that means there is something deeper. You have either a personal problem or you have another agenda. Yeah. I see you recognize that. Yes, sir.
Point number two, people don't solve a solvable problem. Is it within the power of the people in the organization to solve the problem, but they aren't? For example, people complain there is no decaffeinated coffee, but no one does anything about it. Why don't they feel empowered to change the status quo?
I think it's clear enough, right? Well, we don't have this, and people will talk about it for hours. Nobody will write a letter of request. Nobody will organize, either fundraising or coffee collection or anything, we would rather talk. We don't have this organization. They don't serve coffee. They don't do this, and we'll talk about that forever, but nobody will say, okay, how can we solve it? Nobody will say, okay, tomorrow I'm bringing the coffee. Nobody will say, okay, let's check. Maybe there's an organization that can give us. No. We'll rather come every day or every week, every Sunday, if it's a church. Every Sunday, again, there is no decaffeinated coffee. Again. This is something that you yourself can buy. So that's why system thinkers, if they can solve the problem, they will just go give them their coffee and they move on. But a linear thinker will say, no, she's the one that should do it, but it's Mr. Smith. Yeah, so it's Mr. Smith, so Mr. Smith should do it. Even if Miss John said, oh, I would do it, say, no, don't do it. He's the one. Let him do it. Yeah, because system thinkers, they want solution. They don't care if it's Charles or not Charles. They don't care. They want to move on. They have bigger things to do. Yeah. So this is very important.
Okay. Underlying problem. Point 3. The problem won't go away. Have you tried to solve it? And have it been unsuccessful? And have been unsuccessful, thank you. Does it keep coming back like a monster in a horror movie? Does the problem morph into a related issue once you solve the original issue? Generally speaking, if you solve it and it comes back, then you haven't addressed the underlying problem.
This is a very important clue, right? If we try to solve some problem and they kept coming back, then we need another approach. But we need time to think and try to understand what is happening so that we'll get how to tackle it, how to approach it.
Barriers, point number 4. The problem involves emotional barriers. In the Middle Ages, prior to Christopher Columbus, mariners were afraid to sail south of the equator. Contrary to popular belief, they weren't afraid of falling off the edge of the world. The ancient Greeks had proven that the world was round in about 500 BC. They were unwilling to do it because it hadn't been done before. Sailors never even considered it a possibility as such. It was an emotional barrier, a product of stunted imagination. The same kinds of emotional barriers are present in today's organizations. What are the things that are never talked about? What are the things that if someone mentions them, people laugh them off? Where is the imagination stunted in your organization?
I think this is clear enough, right? Yeah, we just need to challenge ourselves and face the things we don't like to face and remove the unnecessary taboos, because taboos, limitations, they can't go together with system thinking, because system thinking is a kind of out-of-the-box thinking, and it doesn't like barriers. I mean, so if there are still some hidden skeletons, in our thoughts, in our lives, where we have a problem developing our systematic approach. So.
Okay. Pattern. Point number 5. The problem has a pattern. Does the problem have a certain cycle? Is it predictable? If so, it may be a symptom of something deeper.
Yeah, it might be something that happens, during certain events or certain season of the year. Maybe it always happens during Christmas, or Easter. Then that means there's something deeper that we need to deal with.
Point number 6. The organization has kept the problem around like a pet. In a healthy organization, if a problem arises, people solve it once and for all. Unhealthy organizations need problems because they give people something to focus on and fuss about. No one consciously tries to keep the problem, and everyone says they want to solve it. However, even though we may not be aware of it, we manage to keep the challenges we like.
That's why we call history makers problem solvers. We have to have these desires to solve problems, and to really solve them, not just removing the symptoms, to solve problems, to solve our personal problems, to solve other problems in our environment. It's like we don't like problems to linger when they may not linger. Yeah, so this is a clue.
Okay. Hidden problems. Point number 7. Other stresses and anxieties are present in the organization. The more anxiety in an organization, the more likely it is that real problems are hidden, manifested only in symptoms. For example, in companies with a domineering culture, employees can feel victimized by management. Most people, when feeling victimized, will complain about other things rather than reveal their true feelings. The more stresses that are present, the more likely there will be a variety of seemingly unrelated symptoms.
Yeah, I think that's clear enough, right? But it's important. Again, I've mentioned something similar. sometimes it's just very difficult for people to express their true feeling. Yeah, so, and because either they have not trained themselves to express that, or they don't know how to manage their feelings. So they will be expressing their insatisfaction through other means. Low salary, people are not friendly here, it will always find a way to come out of them. So that's why it's very important for us to always take time for reflection, to be true to ourselves, and to have the courage to express our true feeling in a civil way, in a respectful way. And that will be very healthy for us, and also healthy for people around us. Otherwise, we'll just be always unsatisfied, not really happy to the end, always noticing bad things because we are not happy inside. Something is stopped inside us.
Point number 8. As one problem is solved, another crops up. In an organization that relies on reactive, quick fix, cause and effect management, once one problem is solved, another tends to crop up. Linear thinkers usually won't realize that the two issues are related. Meanwhile, the underlying dynamics fueling the problems fail to be addressed.
Okay, I think we've spoken about this.
Enemies.
Okay, let's like take a break, not the usual break you're used to, but like a feedback. Before we move on, can I get some feedback from you? What you are getting so far from this, or something that resonates in your mind about this topic? Any hand up? Or should I go one by one? Okay, we have the mic is coming. Yeah.
Okay. What resonates in my mind as you were talking is, first of all, before we change the systems outside, we need to look at ourselves and just begin to be true to ourselves, because we also are a system, both physically and spiritually. So we cannot really have good results when we also ourselves are still not very clear who we are, and our thoughts maybe are a bit myopic. We're not really seeing what the problem is. So as a result, we may call something that is not a problem or is just a symptom. We may not be able to distinguish between the two, and then we'll apply the wrong medication to the problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
very
Thank you.
good, very good. Any other contribution?
Yeah. Going back to where you said, like she was mentioning, that we as individuals, we are systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking that as individuals, we are system, but we also realize that we are also part of a bigger system, maybe called the family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the family is also a system, but it's also part of a bigger system, maybe the church. The church in itself is a system, but it's also part of a bigger system, which is the world. So at every stage, whatever we do as individuals, whatever we say, our actions, is not just having an impact on us as individuals, but it's also having an impact on the larger system that we belong to. And as a church, whatever we do as a church is also having a larger or an impact on the society we find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, we should always learn to think holistically, not just on you now, focusing on yourself, but how will my action, those little things that we think don't really matter, and we think we are doing it just of
For
ourselves,
ourselves.
of ourselves, that because you are linked to a system, there is no way it will not affect the larger system that you belong to. I think that's when the Bible was talking that we are all part of members of the body.
One body, yeah.
So whatever you do will affect the other parts
Yeah.
of the body. But most of the time, we don't really apply that. We don't think in that big picture. We're only thinking just on ourselves. So even in the public, when we come out and we say things or we do things, we are just saying, okay, I want to express my feeling, I want to, but at the end of the day, still having, what impact is it having on the larger system that we belong to?
Yeah, and as you are talking now, I just think about the church, right? Because we are Christians, we are true Christians, and we really love the Lord, right? But if we are not systematic in our mind, and if we don't embrace this larger system thought, we will see the church separate from the world, right? Yeah, we should be separate from the world when it comes to sin. Yeah, the way things are, mainly sin, right? But then sometimes the way we do church is like we think we are just on our own. Yeah, and sometimes when people see our services, they don't understand what is going on, and they think we are mad. They think we are silly. They just don't understand what is happening, right? Because we think we are on our own, and we don't care, and we don't even want to appeal. We don't even see the world as part of the people we want to reach. You know, the service we are doing today, we are not even considering unbeliever. You know? We are not even considering unbeliever. But for a system thinker, just like what you said, everything it does, it thinks about other people. It thinks both about the believers and the unbelievers. You know, like we teach in our church that if you will tell the people, you are not just the pastor of your church, or you are not just a minister or worker, right, in your church. You are the pastor to your whole city, right? You are a worker to your whole city. So don't be limited by the church, right? You go out. It doesn't matter if the person is a member of your church or is not a member of your church. You try to treat everybody the same way you would have treated a member of your church. So the way you greet people, you know, because we are all in one system, right? God, they don't have their own God, and it's not a different God that created their world than the God that created our world. So a systematic approach will even help us in relating to unbelievers. You know, and then it will help us to even find the right approach to them. Then unbelievers will not be like seeing us as too strange. Of course, there will be some parts where we will be strange, but at least not all the time. Okay, let's.
No, I said.
Okay. Wait, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. I wanted to say, I think it's the linear way of thinking that has made us to come up with this concept of a spiritual life and a secular life. But a system way of thinking, there is no divide between, there is no life. You only have one life. So there's no spiritual life. So when we're going to church, we think we are going to act out our spiritual life. Then when we are going to work, we are going to our secular life. But a system way of thinking, there's no divide. It's
actually, Jesus had no church. You know, he had to teach people openly. So anybody could be present there, you know, believers, non-believers, people of different profession. And they were able to get what Jesus was saying. And when Jesus wanted to do anything spiritual, he went up on the mountain. He did his own thing. And we as Christians, we know that it got power, right, from those prayer time, from those solitude time, from God. But it was always like doing it separate from the people. He would go alone, do his own thing. And then mainly he preached openly, you know. It's like something that could appeal. It's appealing to anybody. Anybody can, because he had a heart. He came to save everybody, not just the Jews. He came to save the Gentiles. So his approach was one that anybody could relate with. Yeah. You would like to add?
Yeah, actually, this comes to my mind that then the world today, the church world today, has really operated in a bad system. That's what I can gather
But
from.
then you have to prove it. You don't just make bold claim. You have to support.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's why we're having criticisms and divisions and reformations and all that. So the bad system is there. That
What is the bad system?
The bad system,
is
will attract criticism, divisions, agitation for reformations.
Yes, but I still can't find enough supporting evidence.
Well, the life of Christians, I mean, not being recognized, not being respected, not being,
all those are
referred.
consequences of bad systems. But what is bad in the system? Who can help us out here? Okay.
To my own consideration.
Wait, you are continuing what
Yeah.
Okay.
The bad system, for instance, we are talking about the church.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, the bad system from what we've been taught and what we've been hearing. The emphasis now is not about making people, the members, to be aware that they need to make heaven. There are certain things they're not supposed to do. And again, they are not teaching members that you are supposed to function as an image of God. What they are after is what you can offer. If you cannot offer something good, you are being recognized either as a deacon, as a pastor, whatever means. But the basis, as a Christian, what are you supposed to know? What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to function to live that life you are supposed to live as a Christian?
Openly, not just in the church, right?
Not just in the church.
Anywhere you find yourself, right?
And now you see that you get to certain environment, they will say, look at someone who called him or herself a pastor, look at what he's doing. I think that is, to me, I'm looking at it as a kind of the system that is not functioning well as it's supposed to be. It's a bad system because we are not projecting the image of what we are claiming to be.
And that's because we don't think in a systematic way, right?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
That is my contribution.
Yeah, thank you. Let's have a contribution from the fourth row where we have Liv and Igu.
Okay, I think if I should be really honest, I think that the whole church complex is got out of the concept because they go in the Acts. We read that they go out and they be together with the people, and they come together, of course, as a family, but this for example, the name Christian. Suddenly I realized I don't like to call me Christian. It stands two places in the New Testament about Christian, and that was what the pagan called them. It was not a positive word. Mm. I think that God didn't allow us to call us Pentecostal, Baptist, Adventist. He allowed us to call us His children. Mm. So we have separated us from the world because we stigmatize the whole thing. Could you understand what I say now in English?
Not really. So I got this part that we should call ourselves children of God.
Yes, children of God. Yes, for children of God, believers, follower of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think that the problem is because in my home country, I am not proud to call me a Christian because all this separation from all this domination,
Okay, okay, I got it.
they only confuse the world.
Okay, I got it.
They confuse the world, and in the kingdom there is no
Unity.
not at all. We are one family. So I really think we have to rethink because how the world look at us. I think we have to go to the root.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my opinion.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, let's move on.
Okay. Enemies of systems thinking. Point number 1. We've got to fix it quick. This is the proverbial quick fix mentality. We see a problem and we react to fix it before we really understand it. There is nothing wrong with quick, assertive action, and a system's response to a problem is not necessarily slow, but fixing before grasping the problem is a recipe for disaster.
I think this is clear, right? We spoke about this before, okay?
Point number 2. Oh, let's just put a bandage on it. The bandage solution is often a half-hearted attempt to fix a problem. The danger is that it can cover up the worst of the symptoms while allowing the problem to continue to fester.
Yeah, sometimes you might need to put a bandage, but make sure you later go back to it, and deal with the symptoms, depending on where you are, and sometimes you might need to put a bandage, like a temporary solution. But then make sure that it doesn't end there, that you move on. Sorry.
Okay, decision. Point number 3. We must make the budget by the end of the fiscal year. Budgets are notoriously linear. They force us to make decisions based on money rather than on whether the idea is good. In particular, making a decision to fix something so we are in the black by an arbitrary deadline is problematic. While being profitable is desirable, last-minute Herculean efforts to reach monetary targets are the antithesis of a systematic thinking. Short-term quick fixes almost always harm long-term sustainability.
Okay, this is a financial example, but I hope we'll be able to project it on our lives. This is when, like in this case, there's certain budget they are trying to use by the end of the year. So it's like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? We have this. And such kind of approach is not a systematic approach. And also sometimes we find out that we do the same thing. Oh, they are giving me this, they are giving me this, the deadline is till tomorrow or 2 days. So we just bring things up because we want to seize that opportunity. We are not even sure if we need that opportunity. It's like sales. Buy 2, get the third one free or something. Before, those kind of things used to be appealing to me, but now I don't even, if I don't want to buy a shoe, I don't want to buy a shoe because it's the same like a budget, the sale is finishing on Monday. Well, it's good if you need it, but then buy 2, get 1 free. Are you sure you need? Yeah. And we think we are gaining, whereas because you still have to spend something, And so those are just examples that we really have to be systematic, at least take a deep breath, at least take a pause and think, do I really need this? Is this what I want to do, and not just, oh, we have 10,000, we have to spend it by the end of the year. So you guys come up with, where can we go to? What can we do? You know, you cannot build a system thinking out of that, because you just want to spend it. If you don't spend it, they will take it back. So we say, oh, you start, go to Spain, go to this, but there cannot be any system in that, because you just want to spend the money. So that is what that is passing across to us.
Point number 4. We need to respond immediately. Knee-jerk reactions and attacks of panic, born out of anxiety and learned helplessness, creates linear solutions. A calm, reasoned strategy offers a more systemic way to address a situation. This does not mean acting slowly. It means taking a moment to consider the different variables that contribute to a situation.
Okay.
Antidotes. Point number 5. Who cares? An apathetic approach or a plain lack of curiosity is a barrier to effective problem solving. Curiosity, play, imagination, and adventure are the antidotes to stuck organizations.
So that's why I said systemic thinking. It's a kind of creative thinking. Yeah, it's a kind of creative. It's a kind of creative thinking. But this point is about people who are like, who cares? You know, they are not fast, but at the same time, they don't care. Yeah, it will be difficult to also build a systematic approach with that tendency. Let's read the next one.
Point number 6. We need more information. There is nothing wrong with seeking more information unless we believe it will solve the problem for us. Additional data is good when we know its place. We, not information, have the power to act, and we, not information, must have the courage to do so.
I hope we got this right. Yeah.
Reality. Point number 7. Oh, you are just thinking too much. Shallow and superficial thinking is everywhere. Just watch the nightly news. All of the complex problems of the world are boiled down to a few sound bites. The accusation of thinking too much usually means stop thinking differently from me. The reality is that systems thinking is a new kind of thinking, and not everyone likes to stretch in new ways.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Point number 8. To hell with the rest of the organization. We must get our own needs met. Many people in organizations hold this kind of fortress mentality. In our companies and schools, we believe in bunkers. We live. Thank you, ma'am. We live in bunkers, protecting our own needs and the resources of our units. Consequently, we end up thinking of win-lose strategies and strategizing about how to get more for ourselves. This approach is classic linear thinking.
So I also think it's self-explanatory. You know, if you have a systematic approach, you don't just think about yourself. You know, it doesn't matter the department you are. You think about everybody.
Conflicts. Point number 9. We can't have any conflicts. Some of us will do anything to keep the peace in our organization. Edwin Friedman calls the peace mongering.
Calls this
Peace mongering. Peace mongers will avoid, suppress, and mask conflicts at the expense of discussing and addressing real issues.
Yeah, so if you don't like confrontation, right, of course that doesn't mean it has to be rude. That doesn't mean we have to be suspecting everybody every day, but there is place for confrontation. And if you don't like it, if you don't like to ask questions, if you don't like to sort things out, then it will be difficult for us to build a systematic thinking style.
Point number 10. You will do it this way, and you will enjoy it. Authoritarian managers who force their will on the workforce are prime examples of linear thinkers. Wisdom is collaborative, and domineering interventions undermine innovation, collective problem solving, and creativity.
So all these things is again supporting the notion, what I said, that to have a system thinking and to become a system thinker, we need to be very creative, we need to be free from ourselves, we have to remove all suppressing thoughts, anything that can keep us back, because system will take us deep, will take us to places we never thought we would be. System is higher than us, is bigger than us. So if we don't overcome ourselves, then it will be difficult for us to build a system. Unfortunately, our time is up, and it's been nice spending this 90 minutes with you. Yeah, and thank you for coming. Yeah, and God bless you.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor Bose. Thank you. All right, so I would like to address our viewers. Well, thank you for being with us for this session with Pastor Bose. If you just joined, just so you know, you came at the point where Pastor Bose ended our session. So it would be great if you can share this video on your timeline, or you could share it to your friends so you could get to watch it from the beginning. This is the second session that just ended, and we'll be having the third session in 30 minutes from now. So just go stretch, take coffee, drink water, do what you can, and join us in 30 minutes. All right. Thank you so much, and see you. Bye.